So hi everyone, it's Arsh Ellahi. Hope you're well. It's New Year's Day. Hope you've had a great day so far and a great way to start the year. So what we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to be talking about deal trading. We're going to be talking about how this could be the year that you can make it and how you can do deal trading too. We're going to be live. We're live currently on Instagram. We're live currently on Facebook as well as YouTube. So if you like the thought of, or you like what you're hearing, you can click on the link, which is in the post. You can watch the full session as opposed to just part of the session, because we will be clicking off the Facebook and the Instagram link shortly. So before we move any further, and apologies because it looks like my laptop, we're going to have a few technical issues which will move forward. And sorry, before we start and go any further, if you can let me know that you can hear me nice and loudly and clearly, that would be fantastic. So just in the comments box, just say, hey Arsh, or yeah, I'm with you. That'd be fantastic. So before we move any further, I'm going to say Happy New Year. Well done for making it to the end of 2017. And congratulations for making it into 2018, because believe it or not, it's actually quite a rare occurrence which has happened, because yesterday was a weekend, yesterday was a month end, and yesterday was a year end, and today is a new day, today is a new week, today is a new month of a new year. So just something to think about right there. I want to thank you so much for trusting me with your time this evening. I appreciate that time's the most precious commodity, and I guarantee that this will be the best investment that you make. So what we're going to be covering in the next 90 minutes, you'll know my simple 3-step process to deal trading success. We're going to be looking at the fastest way to make property cash flow. We're going to be looking at the number of deals I traded in 2017 and what they look like. We're going to be looking at the kinds of deals that we traded in 2017. And finally, we're going to be meeting a young lady called Christina Peak and just talking through how she started, why she started, where she started, and more importantly, how she's gone off to deal trading success within a very short space of time. Excuse me. So why should you listen to me? Who is Arsh Ellahi? First of all, I'm the best-selling author of a book called Boom, Bust and Back Again. I'm a monthly columnist of 2 very well-known UK property magazines, which is YPN, Your Property Network, and the HMO magazine. Now, I call myself a bit of a property veteran, because I've managed to survive the brink of bust of recession. Now, my book, the title, Boom, Bust and Back Again, clearly suggests that it's never always been an easy journey for me. I've seen the good times, I've seen the bad times, but the most important thing is I'm back here to tell the tale. I started a deal trading business on literally student-sized savings and made a massive £6 million profit in just over 3 years. But more importantly, I'm a property investment trainer and a mentor that has helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. And this is one thing that I have to put across, is that first and foremost, I am a property investor first. And in 2017 alone, we continued to purchase an additional 50 properties for our own portfolio. So I'm not a person that is literally training to make cash flow for our business. The way that we operate is that we are property investors first and foremost. So that you could say that we walk the walk and we talk the talk. So this is where I want you guys to interact. I want you guys to just tell us, what is your reason why you're here this evening? What's intrigued you to come onto this webinar? What really motivates you on a day-by-day basis? So whether you're listening on Instagram, whether you're listening on Facebook, whether you're listening on YouTube, or you're watching the webinar, you've got an opportunity right now to write what is your reason why. I'm going to give you a minute or so here whilst I just quickly check on some of the other messages that are coming through online. So, okay, brilliant. So straight away, got quite a few people. So financial freedom, retirement from day-to-day work. Let's have a quick look. Replace my income. Okay, to be financially free. Okay. So what the comments looking like on Insta? Okay, so to create a legacy, financially free, give up the day job, early retirement. Okay, so Asim on Facebook said to get some real insight about how to make money from deal trading. Okay, so Sadie said, I'd like to ascertain the fundamentals of deal trading, understanding the principles behind it, all financial freedom, spending time with the family. Okay, so the fundamental and the underlying theme is financial freedom is where they want to be. Excuse me. And financial freedom brings us a lot more, you know, when we're financially free, it brings us a lot more opportunities. When we've got all the time in the world, we decide what we want to do, where we want to go, and how we want to do it. So that's the reason why. My reason why, very simply, is you've been watching my posts on social media recently, spending a lot more time with my family. So we're coming away for some festive fun, festive sun, should I say. So it's my wife and my two daughters, and we've been away for the best part of 3 weeks. And it's been extremely enjoyable. But that's my reason why. The reason why I work so hard for the whole year is to make sure that they're financially secure and also secure within themselves. And this is a quote that I saw online, and I thought this was quite fitting, especially for the time of year that we are. Don't look for motivation. You need to find your why. Because only then, no excuses will come between you and your goals. Does that kind of make sense? So what are your property goals for 2018? Now, hopefully by now you've already wrote them down. There could be things like you're going to quit your job. You're going to make property pay for some of the luxuries, such as cars, holidays and clothes. You're going to help your kids get onto the property ladder. You're going to help your kids get through university. Or you could be looking to pay for your daughter's wedding. I read somewhere on social media a couple of days ago that one of our property friends, their daughter is getting married, and they're finding that quite stressful and an expensive time. So the question is, how are we going to achieve them? Are we going to do more of the same of what we did last year? You know, have you ever heard of the saying, if it's not broken, you don't fix it? Or are you going to try something new? Because in order for us to kind of figure out where we're looking to go, we need to kind of understand, what does success look like? Now, does success look like a monetary value to you? Does it look like £5,000 per month, £10,000 per month, or even more? Or does success look in a different form for you? So for argument's sake, success could look like that you've hit your minimum figure so that you can spend more time with your family, so that you can spend more time with your family, especially if you're working long hours. We're going to be talking about that in a short while. So, excuse me, apologies, it feels like I'm struggling. So what is deal trading? Very simply, and to put it bluntly, it's a matchmaking service. You bring together buyers and sellers that would never have previously found each other and give them a safe and simple way to do business. The way that I see it, and I'm very much down on ground level still, I like to think of myself as almost like a glorified estate agent who can act much quicker and have the opportunity to work nationally to make a lot more money from it. Does that kind of make sense? So there are still 3 people involved in the transaction. You've got the seller, you've got the buyer. But in between, you've got what would be traditionally the estate agent or the property trader. And the property trader is the person that puts the two people together. And as a result of that, as a result of you finding the seller or finding the buyer an opportunity, you get to make a fee or a commission as a result of that. So what we're going to be talking about tonight, very simply, is nothing that's brand new. It has existed for hundreds of years. But what we're doing it is in a much more efficient manner, or a manner which makes much more financial sense to all involved. And as a result, it's a service that helps homeowners that may have previously been let down by estate agents. And it's a service that helps other property investors. Now, you've got to think of this from your point of view. If you're sat here on the webinar, if you're sat here on, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on Instagram, chances are that you're already involved in property or you want to be involved in property. Now, when you're looking for a deal, where do you go? Traditionally, you may have gone to an estate agency. Traditionally, you may have gone to another sourcer. Well, now we're going to come across some terminologies. So terminologies that we may look at is deal sourcers, deal packagers, deal traders, and they are technically all the same thing. What they're doing is putting the two people together. They're putting the buyer and the seller together. So, if you're looking for a property, traditionally you may have gone to one of these. And I've done this myself. So, you know, when I was starting out, I generally didn't find the best deals without having to pay full market value for them. So I had to go to other, what I would call deal traders, to find the better deals. And they were finding some fantastic deals, something like 25, 35, 45% below market value deals. And we're going to be looking at some of the deals that we've put out within the last month alone. So moving on, let's look at the very basics of deal trading. Now, there has to be three people involved, like I said previously. There's the vendor, who is the person that owns the property. They approach you with their property. Now, second stage is there's you. You're the person that's going to make it all happen. You're going to assess the deal. You're going to look at the angle. You're going to see if it's actually profitable. And then you're hopefully going to package it. Now, finally, there's step 3. You're going to find a buyer who's looking to purchase the property from you on the basis that the property makes financial and commercial sense. Now, thinking about this as you guys, as property investors, you wouldn't buy a deal unless it was a really good deal. And very simply is that you get the opportunity to assess the deal, and if it makes sense the way that the packager, the sourcer, or the deal trader has put across, then yes, I'd like to think that you'd move forward with the deal. Now, who wins in this scenario? Because technically speaking, there's 3 people in the transaction. So in order for this to be an ethical business, all 3 people have to win from the scenario. So the first person is a vendor. We've got to understand what's their pain and what's their motivation. Why do they want to do the deal? Now, second of all, you as a deal sourcer, the deal packager, the deal trader, you have to look at this and think, well, how can we create a real win-win-win scenario? And remember, there has to be 3 wins. Because you need to have a look at it and have a look at how can you actually make a profit from this deal without being a busy fool. But more importantly, is there actually any value in the deal? If not, is there a way that value can be added to the deal, which will make it look attractive to the end purchaser, which is step 3, who's the buyer? Because they have to be satisfied with the transaction. Otherwise, the deal won't sell. Have you ever heard of the saying? If the deal's good enough, it will sell itself. And as a result of that, you'll never be short of buyers, which in turn will repeat in return of custom. So we're going to come to this slide, and then what we're going to do, we're going to cut off on the social media, which means that if you want to follow the rest of the webinar, you're going to have to click the link which we've put in the opening post, which is a link which will follow you through directly through the whole of the process. So we're going to be looking at, why do we trade deals? Well, first of all, let's ask ourselves another question. Why are deal traders so important? The way that I see myself as a deal trader, I believe that everyone needs to be a deal trader, a deal sourcer, or a deal packager as their first key, key skill in the property business. Because as a deal trader, it allows you to see the best deals first. If you're the end user and you're only seeing the deals that no one else wants, you've got to ask yourself, how do I get to the top of the pecking order? As a deal trader, you don't necessarily need any money to get started, just lots of determination and ability to say yes to everything that you see. There actually is no risk because you're not actually buying anything. All you're doing, simply like an estate agency, you're creating the opportunity, which means that there's an opportunity for fast results and easy and ability to scale quickly. And I've put here that you can make holiday-sized bundles of cash from hobby amounts of time. And the reason why I say that is because the kind of fees that you'd be making are circa anywhere between £2,000 to £5,000 typically. And that's the kind of fee that you'd make from a traditional 2-3 bedroom house, 2-3 bedroom mid-terrace house. And you can do that without having to allocate your full-time job to it. And the beautiful thing is that I believe it's the fastest way to reach your property cash flow goals. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to bring the live feed to a close. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you've been watching on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram, if you want to listen into the rest of the webinar, I've left the link in the opening post where you can register. And we look forward to speaking to you all soon. And if I don't speak to you, I wish you all a very best for 2018. Thank you. So guys, that leaves me with you guys on the webinar. Thank you for staying with me. I'm just going to quickly, whilst I've got you here, just going to make sure. Okay, so Gareth, if you're saying where is the link, you're actually on the webinar, so you don't need to worry about being on the webinar because you're actually on the webinar. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just quickly going through. Okay, so brilliant. Going through a lot of the questions, just making sure that we've got. Okay, so there's no real questions that need to be answered immediately. So, why trade deals? Very simply, you can work this around your other commitments. So if you've got one of the ladies that we're going to be speaking to later on this evening, her name's Christina Peak. Now, you may have seen an email that I put out the other day about Christina Peak. She's a young lady that has got lots of other commitments. So she's got young children. She's got a full-time job. She's also got a part-time commitment to acting. So you could say that she hasn't got a lot of time, but yet she still manages to trade deals. Deal traders help homeowners that have been let down by estate agents. Now we'll be talking about that shortly. But deal traders help other property investors who don't have the time, the knowledge, or the belief that you can find B&B deals. And finally, it's a no excuses way to invest in property. And the reason why I say that is because there really is no real reason why you can't deal trade. Because you don't need any money. You just need a bit of time. You need some know-how, and you just need some motivation. So when we talk about we don't need any money to get started, let's look at the facts. You are not buying a house, so you don't need the money for a deposit. You don't need money for a solicitor. You don't need money for a surveyor, or you don't need money for the refurb. And a lot of the sourcing techniques that I'm going to be going through this evening are actually completely free. There are some sourcing techniques that may cost a little bit of a little bit of money, then almost like a family meal out. So it could be a bit of marketing costs, for example. Now, this is a big thing for me. There is no risk because you don't own anything. So therefore, there's nothing that can go wrong. Absolutely worst case scenario, we could say nothing ventured, nothing gained. You put a bit of time out, it doesn't work out for you, nothing ventured, nothing gained. No one's been hurt, you've not cost yourself anything. And as a result, you can say that you tried it, but it didn't work out for you. But I'd like to think that you've been involved in property, everyone should be able to deal source. And you get fast results. Now, the people that I'm going to be presenting about tonight are real people. These are all people that I've been working with for the past year. And these are results that will actually motivate action. Because if you follow my simple step-by-step system, you'll be able to easily trade deals in 3 months. Now, people that we see on the screen is Gareth and Helen Firth. And they did exactly that. They followed it to the T, and within 1 month, they used one sourcing strategy. And as a result, they managed to source their first deal. Now, just so that you know, guys, Gareth and Helen, who we've got on screen right there, have got very busy occupations. So Gareth and Helen both work for the police force. So you could say that they've got very demanding jobs. They've got a very young family too. And as a result, they put their reason why as the reason why they've managed to succeed. They've got 2 very young daughters, and they want to be able to do it, so that they leave it for them. Now, the other lady we're going to be talking about is Christina, who managed to just do it within 1 month using one sourcing strategy. Excuse me. Now, Paul Edwards did it in 1 month. He's another gentleman. We've got Alfred, who's on our right-hand side, did it in 1 month. We've got Richard Bradbury, did it in 1 month. We'll be hearing about their success stories later in the webinar. These are all real people. We're going to put faces to their names shortly. The one thing that I like about deal trading is the fact that it's easy and quick to scale. Which means that your income is only limited by the scale of your ambition. The business size is only limited by the scale of your ambition. And if you want to trade more deals, all you do is you just add another sourcing technique. And when we talk about sourcing techniques, we'll be showing you, I think I've got a list of 15 that I've put in for tonight's webinar. Now, the one thing that I like is that for those that are involved in property, you'll understand the terms of buy-to-let, you'll understand the terms of like HMOs. When you buy a single, let's just use a buy-to-let, single let property. The average cash flow is around £200 per month, which isn't going to break the bank, and it's not going to get you to financial freedom without lots of properties. Now, with HMOs, the average cash flow is between £800 and £1,000 per month. And again, if your figure of financial freedom is, let's say, £5,000, that means that you still need 5 properties to hit that target per month. And as a result of that, that means that you're going to need 5 lots of deposits, 5 lots of solicitors' fees, 5 lots of surveyors' fees, and that can be quite an amount. Let's just say that the average house is £100,000, and the average cost of buying a property, 25% deposit, plus all the additional costs, like the solicitor's cost, the buying cost, is on average another £5,000. So you need £30,000 for that property transaction, just as a deposit and buying costs. Now, in order for you to have 5 of those, that means that you will need £150,000 to make £5,000 a month. Excuse me. With deal sourcing, you don't need any of that, because you're going to be able to make £5,000 a month without speculating anything. So you've got to ask yourself that question. If you made £5,000 cash flow from every deal you sold, would that replace your salary? Would that exceed your salary? Would that pay for the luxuries that you want? And I'll just keep checking in just to see what questions have come through. Okay, so moving on. So 5 times, it's what we're talking about here is, believe it or not, 5 times faster than HMO cash flow. Actually, more like 10 times faster. You don't have to wait to buy the house, and 25 times faster than buy-to-let cash flow. But it may actually be more like 50 times faster, as you don't actually have to buy the house. There's no portfolio to manage, so you can easily take a month off to travel. Now, one of the guys that we're going to be talking about in the webinar, he's actually doing this from Marbella as we speak. I've got another guy that does this from Saudi Arabia, and he does this month in, month out, and he trades on average between 3 and 5 deals a month, sitting in Saudi Arabia. The guy in Marbella is doing on average about 2 to 3 a month. So you've got to ask yourself the question, you know, if you're sat in the UK, you've got time on your side, and you haven't got all the additional pressures of, you know, English not being maybe your first native language, and lots of other different barriers. You've got to ask yourself the question, why can't you do this? So the beautiful other thing is that there's no tenants, so no late night maintenance calls, and you can start and stop this as you please. Believe it or not, like I said, I've spent the last 3 weeks out of the country, and I still am out of the country, believe it or not. And even whilst I've been here, I've been trading deals. Now, the last week of December, and the one thing that I'm really happy and knowing is that you guys would have seen emails come out from me in the last week of December, and we're going to show you some of the emails, and they are all deals excuse me, that was sourced, packaged, and sold whilst I was out of the country. So, moving on. Do estate agents actually sell houses, or do they simply just show houses to eager buyers? The reason why I ask that question is that, can you sell tired and run down houses to first-time buyers? And one of the properties that I'm going to put up shortly is a real good example of how sometimes estate agents can get it wrong. And more importantly, why they really need us to help them. They don't have the time, the knowledge, or belief that you can find below market value deals. Now, here's a deal. And I know this property exists because this is one that we put out on email. And believe it or not, we are still getting phone calls for this deal because it was such a great deal. Now, market value, the current market value for this property, £70,000. It needs approximately £25,000 worth of work spending on it. So we reckon that the value after the works is approximately £100,000. However, we managed to negotiate a massive discount, and the purchase price was £35,000. Now, did everyone see this email? Feel free to say yes or no. The estate agent had been trying to sell this property for 4 months, pitching it as a first-time buyer, pitching it to first-time buyers, which really, when I saw this instantly, I knew that the agent didn't really understand their market or their clients. And the reason why I said that, okay, so some people are saying yes, that they saw the emails. Other people are saying that no, they haven't. One thing that I would say to you, actually, guys, is that if you're not getting my emails, I need to ask a question. First of all, are you receiving my property deals that we send out pretty much every day? We send out 2 deals a day, which means that we're doing approximately 10 deals a week. And if you're not getting them, first of all, you may need to check your junk email just to make sure that they're not going in junk, and then you'll have to just confirm it as a safe email so that it lands in your inbox, because you could be missing out on hundreds of opportunities that might be right for you in your property journey right now. So here, like I said, here's a deal in Bolton that we put out. It was on the open market for 4 months, and they've been pitching it at first-time buyers, trying to see. Now, look at the state of this bathroom. Do you reckon a first-time buyer would buy that? That has investor written all over it. And as a result, we then say, we went to the agent. Well, we didn't go to the agent. We called the agent and says, this is who we are. This is what we do. I can find you a buyer for this. Now, the one thing that I'm going to say to you shortly is that we never cut the agent out of the picture. So we also work in conjunction with a lot of agents. And as a result, the agents start to bring us properties. But we're going to be talking about estate agents shortly, so I don't really want to ruin that for you. So just so that you know, this is the deal that we put out. So I'm sure you're sick of seeing this kind of layout, because this is something that I created. So this was at 50% below market value property, 3 bedrooms, 7 detached in Bolton, Greater Manchester. Current market value, potential market value, purchase price, which is what we managed to negotiate, and our finest fee on that was £5,000. And as a result of that, I reckon we took the best part of 600 calls on that deal. You heard it right there, guys. 600 calls. The agent had been trying to sell that for 4 months. I sold it within approximately 15 minutes of the deal going out. So as a result of that, the agent still made their money from the seller, as they traditionally would. We make our money off the buyer, and as a result, everyone's happy. The vendor has sold their property. The agent has made their commission, as they traditionally would. The buyer has got themselves a fantastic deal, and the sourcer has made a commission from a property. Source has made a commission from property that, which was pretty much easy pickings. The only barrier to entry is your determination to make a better life for yourself and your family. And I can only keep saying that to you. There aren't any real barriers to entry. There are a couple of things that you could do for compliance. So you've got to be registered with people like the PRS. You've got to be registered with the Property Ombudsman Scheme. There's some insurances that you have to get. If you're going to take money, you're going to have to be part of the money laundering scheme. So there are things that you do have to do. If you want to set it up as a professional body and you want to set yourself up as a professional entity, then yes, there are things that you are going to have to do. But as a result of that, your success is guaranteed if you follow a proven system and you take committed action. Because providing that you get on well with estate agents, they will need your help. Because believe it or not, Houses do not sell themselves. Homeowners will need your help, as they may have been let down by estate agents. Estate agents will need your help because they don't necessarily understand the investor market. When I look at it, I don't look at it from point of view is the end buyer, like the couple that have just got married, that about to move into property. I look at it from an investor's point of view. And I look at it from a point of view, if I took this property on, what would I do with it? Where can I add value? How can I add value? And it's that value that makes me the money. Does that kind of make sense? If I'm going too fast, feel free to stop me. Okay, so first question. Well, there are quite a few questions, but I'll ask this whilst we're at the point. Steve, thank you for being online. Happy New Year. So, Arsh, what are the compliance requirements for deal trading? What's the total cost to become compliant? Believe it or not, Steve, it's not actually a lot of money. Excuse me. So there are certain things that you've got to do. So you've got to make sure that you're registered with HMRC, so you're set up almost like an estate agent. You've got to be a member of the Property Ombudsman Scheme. You've got to be a member of the PRS, Property Redress Scheme. You've got to have some form of insurance, so some public indemnity insurance. If you're handling money on behalf of your clients, you've got to have money laundering regulations. So you're looking at the best part, I think, is about, depending who you go with, between £1,500 and £2,000 a year. So it's not a lot of money. When you break it down like that, it's about £40 a month. Does that make sorry, £40 a week? So some of the questions that I get, I don't mean this in a bad way, but questions that I kind of refuse to answer is, why did the owner sell the Bolton house so cheap? Well, actually, we'll answer that later, because price isn't always the main factor. Remember, we talked about it shortly. We talked about this a short while ago, talking about pain and motivation. How do we not know that behind the vendor, there's lots of other things that they're happy to do and let go of the property for? So when people say, well, why is the vendor selling it so cheap? It's not a case for me of asking why they're selling it so cheap. It's a question of what can they now do? What have we said to them that is going to allow them to move on, giving us the property at a discount? Does that kind of make sense? Because if you're asking the question why they're selling it so cheap, you're kind of talking yourself out of your own business. And admittedly, I've been doing this for 17 years. And sorry, this will be our 18th year. So I've been doing this for 18 years. I've been and visited hundreds of thousands of properties. And if I was to say to the vendor, "Whoa, hang on, Mr. Smith, don't sell me your house because it's too cheap," I'd never get anything done. So we have to look at this with a bit of with some commercial mindedness. Does that make sense? So moving on. Like I said, I've been doing this for 18 years. It's a bulletproof system that's been tested in the rising market 2006, the crash of 2008, and the flat market of 2010. Because believe it or not, people will always want to try and sell their properties. And it's not only homeowners that we deal with. It could be other property investors. Other property investors selling off their investment stock. And that could be due to the fact that it may no longer suit their strategy. Now, with Section 24 have come into play, lots of investors are selling off their stock. And it suits me down to the ground. And that's one of the main reasons why I managed to pick up 50 properties this year for my own portfolio. I found 2 very tired landlords, and one sold me a block of 40. And the other one sold me a block of 10. The block of 10 completed the Friday before we broke up on Christmas. the simple SPS process. Source, package, sell. It really is as simple as that. And we're going to go through the 3 steps. So step 1, find the deal. I do apologize, by the way, guys, for this cough. Just can't seem to get shift of it. So there are a number of different ways to source deals. Estate agents, letting agents, auctions, online platforms, other sources, direct to owner, and there are quite a few more. So these are all the ones that are pretty much straightforward that anyone could do. Go meet with estate agents, go meet with letting agents. Now, why would we deal with letting agents? Why would we deal with letting agents? Because, believe it or not, has anyone seen the rent-to-rent opportunities that we've been putting out? In exactly the same manner, they've got to come from somewhere. So we deal with a lot of letting agents. We deal with a lot of auction houses. We deal with a lot of online platforms. We deal with other sources. And we are direct to a majority of our stock is direct to the owner, because that is where the best deal is done. Now, estate agents. 90% of properties in the UK are sold through estate agents. That's a statistical fact. Estate agents, if you treat them correctly, can become your unpaid sales force. All they need is your help shifting tired properties that don't appeal to their first-time buyers. So going back to that property in Bolton, they've been trying to sell it on their books. They just didn't have the clientele that was looking for that kind of style of stock. They didn't understand the property. They didn't understand the angle. And as a result, we managed to sell that quickly. Once you manage to earn their trust, they'll call you before anyone else and anywhere before they've managed to advertise. Now, I'm working with a couple of guys called Martin and Elliot, and I'm going to introduce them shortly. I've got a picture of them later on. They've got a number of estate agents that call them first before they get any deals. And believe it or not, Martin and Elias, they're a father and son combination, fantastic guys. I think the Friday before they broke up for Christmas, they managed to buy 2 properties well below market value from the estate agent that the agent went out to a couple of days beforehand. And the agent said to Martin and Elliot that if you can complete within a couple of days on a cash basis, that they could have it at a really good discount. And they did so. So the beautiful thing with deal trading, you get to pick what you want and what you do with that deal. Because you can turn estate agents into your unpaid sales force. And all you could do is the following 4 things. Tell them what you want. Go and see them once a week. Sometimes with some gifts, but it's not a bribe. Do what you say you will. Which means that, for argument's sake, when Martin and Elliot, when the agent says you've got to buy this within a couple of days, or you've only got a couple of days with it, you've got to move forward with that. Because buying from them is the best way to earn their trust. If you're not buying from them because you're going to be acting as a sourcer, you've got to be really clear with that. And then again, you reward them when they find you a really good deal. Now, Helen and Gareth, they visit their agents all the time. And the good thing is, I suppose, that because they are police officers as well, they're very well respected in their area. How many times have you said no to a police officer? It's everything. If anything, it'd be yes, officer. Yes. How many times can I call you officer? But they always taking chocolates and donuts. They provide them with cheap gifts like this. They say that cheap gifts like this go a long way. They make you memorable. They remember you in a positive way. And it leaves you in the forefront of their mind so that they call you first. By telling them what you want, you're basically painting the picture so that as soon as the property comes on, you're the first person that they call. If you're a property investor looking for 2 houses a month, you've got to be specifically vague. 2, 3 or 4 bedroom terraces, some detached or detached houses. Tired or run down, at least 15 years old. And the fastest way to earn an estate agent's trust is to buy from them. Many estate agents have the following mantra. Now, how many times have you done this, by the way? How many times have you gone into an estate agent and said, hi, my name is Mr. Smith. I'm looking for rundown properties. I only want to buy it if it's 25% below market value. And they go, okay, Mr. Smith, yes, we'll call you the next time the next property comes in. They will take your business card. The moment you left the door, that business card will go in the bin. Because all you've done, you've come out with all the same jibber jabber that everyone else has done. And I've been in that position too. I still get those calls, by the way. I'm not an estate agent, but I get lots of investors call me. Arsh, I tell you what, you get anything that's 40% below market value, I will bite your hand off for it. So will half of my bloody mailing list, to be perfectly honest. What's so different about you? So can you see how I look at it? I look at it from all angles. How will an estate agency perceive me? How will an investor perceive me? How will a homeowner perceive me? Because when you buy or you trade that deal that you've found, you've immediately jumped to the top of their priority list. When another deal comes in, they'll call you first. And admittedly, I've got a number of buyers that I've got in my little black book that I call first whenever a deal comes in. Because these are guys that buy off me week in, week out, month in, month out. And I know that they're good. So that when they say that they want it, they're going to pretty much perform on that basis. So there are some direct to owner sourcing techniques. And they are very simply leaflets, posters, postcarding, aging, window cleaner JVs, med cards, death certificate folder. Now that's a strange one, but believe it or not, works extremely well. Letter series, takeaway menus, bus adverts, car ads, forums and social media, and newspaper ads. Excuse me. Unfortunately, we can't go through all of them tonight. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through the 5 most powerful techniques, which is what I would say is the 3-letter series: newspaper ads, takeaway menu, aging, and the death certificate folder. Now, the 3-letter series, pretty much like a piggyback on estate agents, which are the ones you are working with. Then steal their lunch. Sorry, when I say not the ones that you're working with. So if you've really tried to work with an estate agent and they've just said no, 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 there's nothing stopping you from touting their stock. Because believe it or not, that's what estate agents do to each other. So they kind of expect it. How many times have you put your property up for sale and the moment that board has gone up or the moment it's hit Rightmove, you get a letter from another estate agency. So if you've gone on with Connells, your move will write to you, oh, we noticed that you've got your property for sale. Hopefully it's going well. If it's not going so well, feel free to call us. We'll come around, do an evaluation, and we'll go from there. This is the most targeted form of direct to owner marketing. And it is so simple to do because all you've got to do is look for sale signs in your area. You've got to write down the address, use land registry to find the name of the owner, and write a 3-letter series. And the way that you find the owner, admittedly, okay, so Steve's come up with an interesting question. Apologies, if I take a pause for a second, chances are I'm probably just reading a question that's come in. I'll come back to you in a second, Steve. So, find the name of the owner. So you've got to go onto land registry, which is gov.uk. What you do, you start search, you click start now, and then all you do, you put the house number, the postcode in. You pay £3 to download the title register, and believe it or not, congratulations. You've now got the vendor's name. You've now got where the vendor lives, if it's not the same address, and you can write a letter to them, say, guys, congratulations on getting your house listed with the biggest and most successful estate agency in your area. I'm sure you'll have a steady stream of viewings over the coming weeks, and that your house will sell quickly so that you can move on with your life. However, If for any reason it doesn't sell or as quickly as you hoped, feel free to call. I'd love to buy it. If you sell your house directly to me, you won't have to pay the estate agent's fees, and I'll even pay your legal fees. This means that it's been completely free for you to move. You know, how many times have you put that advert in the paper? How many times have you received one of these letters? All they're doing is they're backing off the back of an estate agent. Now, letter number 2 is a couple of weeks later. Hi, congratulations on selling your house. You must be thrilled and relieved to sell your house so quickly. Moving house is one of the most stressful things people go through. You must be delighted that your house is sold in a way so quick and painless. However, property is like a sport in which that it ain't over until the fat lady sings. So if for whatever reason your house doesn't sell or that it falls through, feel free to call me, as I'd love to buy your house. If you sell your house directly to me, you won't have to pay the agent's fees and not even pay your legal fees. It means that it's completely free for you to move. And then lesson number 3, 2 weeks later. Congratulations again on selling your house. You must now have a moving date. I'd like to recommend the company Ellahi & Sons, or whatever company. They are friendly, reliable, and very reasonably priced. If you use my name as a recommendation, then you may even get 10% off the price. However, unfortunately, nothing is guaranteed with property until you've exchanged contracts. If for whatever reason your house falls through, give me a call. I'd love to buy your house. If you sell me your house, you won't have to pay the agent's fees, and I'll even pay your legal fees. It means that it's completely free for you to move. Do you see what we've done there? We've literally just kept us at the forefront of their mind, thinking, okay, if something happens, there is a plan B. There is a plan B. And as a result of that, it's cost us £3 plus the cost of a letter, plus the cost of 3 stamps and 3 envelopes. So, you know, after you're taken, each one's going to cost you best part of £5. So you really have to play this carefully. It's really going to be a property that you want. There are cheaper ways of getting that lead, which we'll talk about shortly. So the next thing is newspaper and magazine classified ads. So it's a cheap form of advertising in your area. There's lots of free magazines and newspaper always looking for new advertisers. You can get a better deal if you commit for 6 months up front. And if the ads aren't working, you can pull them after 3 months. But due to size limitations, you won't have much space for more than probably like a headline, bullet, benefit bullets, and the call to action. So how many times have you seen an advert like this? So what you're pretty much trying to ask is, are you struggling to sell your house? Do you need to sell your house fast? And then you need to put in some of the benefits of why they should deal with you. That's a fast cash purchase in 14 days, that you have the ability to pay the legal fees, free for you to move. If you'd like to sell your house quickly, then please call Arsh on and that's my mobile number. And I've been doing that for 17, 18 years, and it still works today, believe it or not. Problem that you've got is that when they're calling you, probably calling about 4 or 5 other people, because you won't be the only person advertising in the back of the paper. When I first started in year 2000, I was the only person advertising in my local paper. By the time of 2007, 2008, I think there were about 40 companies that I was having to fight off against. So strategy number 3 is one, which still works today, takeaway menu. Now, how many times do you get a takeaway menu through your postbox? Chinese, Indian takeaways, pizzas, chip shops, you know, whatever's just opened up, etc. Because basically, what you want to try and do is advertise on the back of their takeaway menu. The reason why I say that is that it's rare that people throw away takeaway menus. They kind of get put to the bottom of a drawer, so that on a Friday night you pull them out, you have a look at, and you start to look at what's going on the back of the menus. So the way that you get in with the takeaway menu, believe it or not, what I've found works really well is if you can build rapport with the takeaway menu guys and offer to cover the cost of their printing on the basis that they allow you to advertise on the back of their menu. So pretty much they've got free leaflets. You've got good advertising space, and they will then get them circulated as if they just would, as if they would normally. Because if you hadn't approached them, they would still have to get them printed, which meant that it would have cost them money plus the distribution costs. Now, aging, you may not be familiar with the term aging, but believe it or not, it's quite an interesting concept. This is where you buy a local newspaper with the property section every week, and you store it in a safe place for 3 to 6 months. And you only start calling the people who are selling their properties 3 months later. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you pick up the paper today, 1st of January, congratulations, Happy New Year. But you won't start calling them until March or April. And the reason being is very simple, is that if they've still got their house for sale in March or April, they're going to have a lot more pain and motivation, and they're going to really welcome your call. Does that make sense? Now, this is one. It is a fine line. And I kind of come to terms with this. It became a little bit raw for me a couple of years ago when my father passed away. Because before then, I never really had anyone pass away. So, there's a legal requirement for funeral homes to issue a death certificate, and the death certificate is always put in a presentation case, which the cost of which they always want someone else to pay for. So what I tended to do, I went to all the funeral directors in the area, and I said to them, guys, I'll tell you what, I will pay towards a contribution towards the production of the presentation case on the basis that I could either have an insert in the death certificate folder or an advert on the back of the death certificate folder. Because let's face it, when people pass away, and it is a natural cause of life now that people do pass away and they do leave us, sometimes they'll leave possessions, assets such as properties, and then they go to probate, and the people that take it on don't really know what to do with it. So with us putting an insert saying, guys, we appreciate it's a difficult time. However, if there has been something that's been left and you want to discuss about the best way of disposing of it or how it can work for you. So for argument's sake, I've done lots of deals, rent-to-rent deals of probate cases where they like the thought that that property is now generating them an income and the property is still there. And the vendor loves that. You know, the people have taken that on because they haven't had to sell it at a fire sale. You know, if they want to sell it, we'll make an offer for it. Got no issue with that. However, if I can do a rent-to-rent on it where I don't have to buy the property, even better, and the family generates an income from it, you know, the deceased, I would like to think, would be happy with the fact that they're still providing for their family. So David says, is funeral homes same as funeral directors? I'd like to think so, yes. Your ad needs to be a sensitive nature to the fact that the receiver has just lost a loved one. You need to help them through the challenging process of selling their childhood home. Now, I'm going to talk to you about, you know, here are some of the people that I've helped over the last year. So we've got Vicky, we've got Alfred, we've got a gentleman called Roger. And these are all guys that have all all the people that I introduce you to now have all succeeded in deal trading in exactly the same way that I've just discussed and shown you how. We've got Ryan, we've got Pauline, and we've got Chris. Now, believe it or not, Chris actually lives in Bulgaria. Chris is still deal trading whilst living in Bulgaria. So there are a couple of things, there are a couple of foreign aspects of some barriers, such as language. The English language isn't his first language. But as a result, he's still getting through agents. He's still getting through agents. We've got Ryan Brown, we've got Pauline, and these are all guys that are working we've got Sandy, we've got Daryl, we've got Graham. Now, Graham and Daryl, they've started to work almost like a partnership, and they work really well. They've found a number of deals that they operate roughly around the Wirral area, so up towards Merseyside. We've got Sandy that's based in Derby, and she covers around the Derbyshire area. We've got Simon. We've got Saranjit, believe it or not, has sourced a property HMO in Liverpool. We've got Desi, that's based in London, that's doing some good stuff in London. We've got Russell, who's based in Marbella. I'm going to talk to you about this lady shortly, and then we're going to be introducing this lady in a short while. So we've got Tutu, and we've got Christina. We've got Ellie. We've got Martin, who we spoke about shortly. Martin. And excuse me, Martin and his son Elliot, and then we've got Gareth and Helen. Now Ellie came and spent a day with me in my office, so I allow people to come and spend the day with me and shadow me in my office. And I said to Ellie, by the end of the day, you've got to have a deal, and that's the gauntlet that I set down to everyone that comes to the office. If you're coming to spend the day with me, I want to make sure that you're leaving my office with a deal. And that's exactly what she did. She found a property through an auction house, and we sold it to an investor on my database within the space of 2 hours. She walked home £5 grand richer that day, and she was crying with tears of joy. And that's the partner there. And then we've got Nick Swales, and we've got Girish. Now we're going to be talking about Girish. We're going to be talking about a couple of them shortly. These are all people I've done deals with in 2017, plus a lot more. Now, deal trading, as I said from the outset, is that everyone is on a different journey. Everyone can do what they want to do. When you find a deal, you decide what you do with that deal. You're going to keep it, you're going to sell it, you're going to trade it. What are you going to do with it? Now, Tutu started working with me in June 2017. And she very simply said, my aim was simple. Sold properties purely for herself. Sell nothing and keep everything. Keep everything for a portfolio without using any of her own money. Now, just out of curiosity, okay, so sorry, one person said that is muted, but everyone's muted. The only person that's not muted is me. So who thinks that? Okay, so Marie says, sounds too good to be true. How did Tutu do that? Okay. Within 6 months, Tutu had sourced and retained 9 rent-to-rent properties all around the Midlands, is netting around £8,000 per month cash flow, which is just short of £100,000 per annum. And she is absolutely flying. I tried to get Tutu on the webinar, and I may get Tutu on the webinar within the next couple of weeks because she's an absolute inspiration. Now, when I meet people, of all different abilities, Tutu was someone that seemed very determined that she's going to make this work. And she went out and she owned that space. She's getting properties offered to her all over the country, so on rent-to-rent basis. So, you know, she's going up towards Manchester. And I'm saying, Tutu, what are you going to do with the one in Manchester? Believe it or not, Tutu is actually based in Wolverhampton, which is in my neck of the woods. And again, I'm always happy for Tutu. Sorry, so a couple of people saying that they've lost sound. Can everyone still hear me loudly and clearly? If you can let me know, that would be fantastic. Okay. If you can, if we're getting issues, if you can let me know, that'd be great. A couple of people said that they lost sound, so hopefully you're all back. Okay. So Tutu, like I said, she's getting opportunities all over the country. She said, "Arsh, don't worry, I'm going to deal with them. I'm going to keep them, and and I want to get to a point where I'm earning 10 to 12,000 pounds. And she's still got a very good job. And she says, I don't want to leave my job. Even though she's earning that kind of level of cash flow, she's still earning, she still decided she still decided that she wants to keep going, and that's very commendable. Okay, so just quickly going through, making sure that we're going through the questions. Okay, apologies for the cough. There's not a great deal I can do about that. So all within 6 months, no previous property experience. She simply followed the system to the T. So step one, again, why would someone sell me their house so cheap? Going back to the question that Bob asked, because they don't know what it's worth. They only know the price they hope to sell it for. Because their reason for moving is stronger than the price that you pay. Because they have no other options. Now, the key to it here is the reason for moving is stronger than the price that you pay. And a motivation could be upsizing, downsizing, moving closer to the family, new job, moving in the country, out the country, different parts of the country, lost their jobs, probates, debt, divorce. Now, you've got to think about this logically from your point of view. You know, we all get hit with all these things that we're listing here. Now, how many times have you had to upsize and downsize? How many times have you had to move to different parts of the country? How many times have you lost your job? How many times have you been in debt? And how many of you have actually gone through a divorce? You know, in a divorce scenario, if the house is worth £100,000, are you happy to literally, in some scenarios, try and accept a lesser price to know that you can move on with your life? Because speed is more important than price. Does that kind of make sense? Right, okay, let's have a quick look. So, right, okay, so sorry, keep moving on. I had a question come through. So there's three types of house prices. They're what I would consider market value, below market value, and hope value. What price do they want? More importantly, what do they need to move? You know, do they need what's outstanding on the mortgage? Are they looking just to cover their outstanding debt? Do they need some costs for moving? Or do they require the full amount because the deposit is required for the next house? So let's just use an example. Market value of a house is 135,000. The price they want is 110,000. What they actually need to move though is 80,000, and what you want to pay is 100,000. So there's quite a few different values there. What you need to try and figure out is that you're not buying their house. You are giving them the reason for moving faster than anyone else. I'll give you an example there. If they're relocating closer to their grandchildren, then you can ask them if time with their grandchildren is more important to them than the house price they hope to receive. Or if they're moving to their dream house, you can ask them what they want more, to be living in the house of their dreams, or wait another 3 to 6 months before they can sell their house for its hope value. Now, giving you an example, here's a deal. Here's a deal. Sorry, we keep losing that there. Now, this is a deal, believe it or not, that I actually did in 2016, and I always use this as an example because this property was sat empty for 15 years. And it's actually based in Dudley, so it's actually in the West Midlands. So what would you do with this? Now let's get you thinking about this now. So we've got this building here, which is an old listed mill, and we've got all this land here as well. What would you do with it? Okay, so straight away, Ivan has come in and said flat conversion. Okay, interesting. What would you do? Refurb or new build? Okay, interesting. So Raj has come in with interesting HMO. Okay, deal packaging. Okay, interesting, Omar. Well done. Now, the beautiful thing with deal sourcing is that you decide. Now, when we approached, okay, interesting. Got some really interesting questions. Okay, so Harjit says refurb, refit, and resell. If the land, apply for planning permission, for plats, get planning on it, sell it to a developer. Okay, interesting. Hi, Jazz. Happy New Year. Demolish and rebuild, add value. Right. So we've got some really interesting questions there. So basically, just to give you an outline of what happened here. So there's a derelict piece of land. The owner had sat on it for 15 years. So we were direct to the vendor. The vendor wanted £100,000 for it. But we managed to negotiate a deal with them at 80 grand on the basis that it's been sat there for 15 years. And all we did, I'll be completely honest, is very little. I got my architect to do an indicative plan for the property, and we put it into the next auction, and we sold it for 115,000. And we made a sourcing fee of 35 grand, and the time that it took was 14 days. We didn't go for planning permission. So David Siegler said, the last time I heard a cough like that, the guy died. First of all, David Siegler, Happy New Year. Lovely to hear your well wishes. Please feel free to pass your, send your flowers to my my soon-to-be widowed wife. Thank you very much. No, but I thought that was quite funny. Thank you very much. So, had you bought the property before you put it into auction? No. So, what we do with deal sorting, there's lots of different strategies. So you can do back-to-back transactions, and that's exactly what we did. So we agreed 80 grand with the vendor. We put it in the auction, and it cost us £500 to do that. So there was a bit of a cost attached to this. This is a complete different strategy. This is something called a flip. So we are committed to potentially purchasing it, but our risk to it was £500. And as a result, we sold that deal in the auction. Well, sorry, before the auction for 115,000. Went into SDR or Bigwood auction, and we gave the vendor £80,000. We got ours for 115,000, and everyone was happy. We didn't get planning permission on it. All we did, we put an indicative plan of what we think could be achieved subject to planning. Does that make sense? So location-wise, where does this work? The answer is it works all over the country. We've done deals in London. So we've done some deals in, earlier this year, we've done deals in Kingston. We've done stuff in Earl's Court. And you would have said, you know, by all means, go back through your emails. We've sent out a lot of emails this year. You'll see that we've done deals in Croydon. We've done stuff in Earl's Court. We've done stuff in, forgive me if I don't get all the areas, but I think we've covered the breadth of the country, the length and the breadth of the country. Does that kind of make sense? So, you know, location-wise, if you went back through all your emails, you'll see that anything in Wolverhampton, generally speaking, if I saw something in Wolverhampton and it's a good enough deal, you won't see it on email, just purely because I would have kept it. And that's the beautiful thing about being a deal sourcer. If it's an area which I'm really interested in, or I like the deal, I will keep it. Okay, so Anderson says, no Manchester. We've done tons in Manchester. Apologies if it's not on the list. There's so much that we can put on the list. We've done absolutely tons in Manchester. We've done tons in Bradford, done tons in Leeds, we've done absolutely loads in Liverpool. We've done stuff up towards Doncaster. We've done stuff down south towards Bournemouth. We've done stuff in Cardiff. We've done stuff in Torquay. Done stuff in Somerset. So here's another deal, and you would have seen this one. This one came out, believe it or not, in the last week before Christmas. So feel free again to go back through your emails. Here's a deal that we've got through direct to vendor, where it's a carpet shop and the convenience store there. They're on long leases. Got planning permission for flats there, and we sold it within about half an hour. Half an hour, and we sold that for 250,000, and we made a fee of 5,000. Here's another one in Doncaster. We had valuations of 100,000, purchase price at 85 grand. So we made a bit of a discount, nothing that's going to set it on fire. But the fact is that it's a 5-bedroom HMO generating best part 17 grand per annum. Here's another 6-bed HMO in Hartlepool, where we actually had a valuation report in 2016 showing the valuation at the best part of 270,000. And we actually had the RICS valuation for that. Now, you do the maths. Just so that you know, last year alone, my aim was to get to 500 deals. 500 deals that we were putting out, which was equivalent to 2 deals a week. 2 deals a day, 10 deals a week. I unfortunately hate to say that we didn't get to 500, but we had a bloody good go. And we got to 483 deals. And out of those 483 deals that we put out, I think it's 455 sold. So I'm not going to say everything sold, because it wouldn't. I'd be lying if I did. But it's 455. We've still got some in the pipeline going through. So to be fair, at 4 grand a pop, which was the average kind of fee that we generated, would you like to think that that was pretty good going? You are what you do, not what you say you'll do, by the famous Warren Buffett. So I'm going to talk to you very briefly before we go on to some more content about the Elite Property Tribe. So it's basically a 12-month deal sourcing trading program, which I'll be showing how to deal source B&B deals, how to add value to deals, rent and rent deals, lease option deals, commercial to residential deals, and so many more. It's a program that I've devised, which gives you weekly training and a Q&A webinar for a whole year, and gives you the skill set and the motivation that you need to source, trade deals, and flip houses. And it gives you access to an online portal with all the webinars recordings, just in case you miss one. And it gives you my documents, my leaflets, my magazine adverts, my 3-part letters that you can use to source immediately. You get access to my power team, and you get access to my whole community. So we've got a WhatsApp group, we've got a Facebook group, we've got the private platform, you've got access to me, and you've got access so that you can come and work in my office with me and shadow me. The whole point of the community is that it's there to inspire you with their success and share their experiences so that you avoid costly mistakes, shortcut your success. We also meet up once a quarter where we have keynote speakers, like a live Q&A, motivational networking, and also you get to sell your deals to my investor database. So we JV, so we sell it to my database. So I've got 100,000 investor database that are hungry for your B&B deals. You get access to the WhatsApp group, the Facebook group. You become instantly a lead magnet that effortlessly pulls in 6 to 10 leads a month using low-cost guerrilla marketing techniques. I'll even show you how to dodge the "how much will you give me for my house" bullet. That stops most negotiations dead. And I'll show you how to shine a spotlight on your deal so that most investors are desperate to have it. And you'll be amazed at how quickly you can sell your deals when you use our proven tested templates. And finally, we'll be showing you how much to charge when it comes to a sourcing fee. And it's a simple calculation so that you don't sell yourself short. And then we'll keep moving on because I'll talk to you about these. So The investment of it is £6,000 because £6,000 for the year. And the monthly mentorship cost, if you were to do a one-on-one with me, would cost you £12,000 a year. So you're pretty much getting the weekly mentorship for half the price, plus you get access to all my community. So that was just a brief intro to something that we're going to be talking about a little later on. So step 3 is basically selling your deal, because what we want to do is make sure that first we've packed it, sourced it, then we've packaged it. Now we're about to sell the deal. Want to make sure that you're giving the right information and the right presentation. And because this is what I find is the key to people selling leads. Now, for argument's sake, I know David, he may still be online. I know a lot of people sell their deals. Okay, so we've got some good questions coming through. So okay, so there's some great questions coming through. I'll go through those shortly. I'm going to try and get through these so we can spend a good 20 minutes on a Q&A session. So giving the right information and the presentation is key, just purely because deals don't sell because they're not packaged correctly. And it really is as simple as that, because they haven't thought about the end user. The right information should look like the location, market value, the purchase price, the discount, sourcing fee, the condition of the property, and more importantly, what is it that's on offer? You know, why is someone selling it? No, not why is someone selling it. How are we presenting it? More importantly, you as the end user, you've got to imagine yourself not only as the person creating the template, but also the end user looking at it, thinking, well, if this came through to me on email, would this look like a good deal? And the answer should be yes. When it comes to location, now one of the questions Gerald says is there no risk of being cut out the deal? The answer is no, because we use lots of documents. We've got lots of lockout agreements. We've got lots of exclusivity agreements. These are all documents that are part of the Elite Property Tribe, by the way, guys. So more importantly is that once a deal will never leave my email until we've got exclusivity to a deal, because last thing that I want to do, put a deal out, find someone like David knocking on the door saying, don't go to Arsh, you know, do a deal with me, and you know, we'll try and cut him out the center, because all that will happen is that I will find out about it, and as a result of that, David will then be removed off my email database so that he never sees a deal again. And it is very short. It would be very short-sighted of David, because if I'm the person that can provide 500 deals a year and David's trying to save himself £3,000 by one deal, David's not the kind of person that I want to deal with. I'm just using David as an example, by the way. I never give out the full address. If you notice, I'll give out the street name and the postcode, but I'll never give out the house number. Because again, there may be a couple of people like David that may want to go and door knock. But again, because I've got exclusivity documents with the owner, I've got a document to confirm that I have that exclusivity for that property for a certain period of time. If I don't perform, then naturally, yes, the vendor can do it, but only after that period has passed. We show external shots of the property, of more than, so that's not immediately obvious of what's being sold. So when it comes to values, you've got to be extremely, I always work on the area of caution when it comes to values. If a house is worth 105,000, I say it's worth 95, because there's always that margin of 10% error. And what I do, I work on sold values, not for sale values. Does that kind of make sense? Because we all knew the market value of the property before negotiating the price with the owner. All you've got to do is share your comparables with the buyer. And when we say share your comparables, you can do that simply by going on Rightmove, looking at the sold comparables. We never look at what's for sale, because what's for sale or what's sold, we could look at 5 houses on the street and we could get 5 different values. I always look at the lowest value, we look at the highest value, and we look at what's happening in the middle. The purchase price will have to look like a bargain. You also state the discount to make it as easy as possible for the buyer to make a decision. Now, the sourcing fee, remember, you've got to put your sourcing fee in, because you remember, you want to get paid. Generally speaking, it's around 10% of the discount amount, which is reasonable. The more pictures you can put of the property, the better. The better the quality of the pictures, the more chance that you're going to sell the property, because someone in Saudi Arabia is not going to be able to go and view the property. So they're going to be reliant on you, your pictures, your information. You don't need an expensive camera, but what you do need is, believe it or not, if you're working with estate agents, you'll already use their pictures, providing that they can confirm that the pictures that are provided are the ones is a true reflection of the property that's been offered. Does that kind of make sense? Now, when it comes to the presentation, you've got to think about it from a point of view. When you see my emails, people like to think that my emails are very educational, because I'm telling them, what is it now? What can it become? What could the end value be? And what is the vision? More importantly, how can they potentially get their money back out? So presentation is key, because the way that I present it will put it in a format which you guys will understand it. As a result of you guys understanding it, you guys will then call me and say, Arsh, I want that deal, I'm in. You've got to present your deal as a gold embossed business card that you need a PDF pack that you can send to the buyer. I've got pretty much a whole document with spreadsheet or with a whole template, so that you guys, all you've got to do is just literally copy and paste your stuff in so that it will sell instantly. And remember, this isn't something that I've created overnight or over the last couple of days. I've been working on this for 17 years. And as a result of that, I've traded hundreds, thousands of properties. So presentation, you can use stuff like people per hour, but bearing in mind that they're not property people, so they may not understand the vision of what you're trying to put across. You could use Microsoft Word templates, but it just means that you're doing more of the work and it will save you some money. Now, where do you sell the deals? Yes, you can sell deals to your network, and I'm hoping that over a period of time, you will have your own network of people. You could go to networking events. You know, there are lots of networking events out there. You could sell it on social media sites, or you could sell it to databases. And they're the main ones, really. They're the main areas that people sell their properties. You go on social media, someone's trying to sell something. It won't sell because it's packaged badly. If you sell it to your network, remember, presentation is key. As a motivated property investor, selling it to your network, you've got to obviously know that and trust that if someone's looking for a deal, that you can call them first. They may become repeat buyers. I've got hundreds of repeat buyers. People that I know, as soon as I go and look at the property, I can call them. I've got a guy in Pakistan, believe it or not, a chap called Zahid. As soon as I know that I've seen a deal, I can call him and I can say, Zahid, I've seen this deal, what do you reckon? And he'll either say, Arsh, yes or no. And he's very straightforward like that, and he's a great guy. Now, property networking events, it's an ideal place to grow your network, but not a great place to sell your deals, as numbers in the room will vary. It could be several weeks until the next event, but more importantly, everyone in the room may be doing the same thing that you're doing. They may have loads of deals, but no cash. Really, what you want, it's a fine-edged sword of cash and deals. Now, social media sites are great, but again, it's a full of hot air. Lots of people saying yes, 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 very little happening in the background. There are lots of groups out there. There's a UK Property Traders group, there's a BMV group, which is now called All About Property, there's a HMO group, there's a service accommodation group, there's this group, there's that group, there's believe it, the fact is that there's millions of people on Facebook. However, you know, you get to see lots of them have got property threads. However, many of the deals actually stack up, we don't know. One thing that I'm also cautious of the fact is that the same deals that have been posted on Facebook, I've probably seen about 5 weeks before with a different figure on. So I question the viability of the deal. But with Facebook, as you know, some of the groups, you've got to be known in their community before you can sell their deals. So you've got to give value in the group on a regular basis, which means that you've got to dig your well before you're thirsty. Means that you may need 2 months minimum before you can sell your deals. Now, when it comes to databases, I am very open and honest that I only work with people that work with me. So yes, you can build your own database, but it's taken me 17 years to build a database of 103,000 property investors. So that email that you see that comes out to you, you're part of the 103,000 property investors. You can JV with me, and the split very simply is a 50-50 split. So this is where the money lies, because this is the longer route. You can build your own, but this is where the money lies, because it will take time and effort. But this is the longest route to success. Or you could JV with me, where we've got over 103,000 property investors across the world. Who are looking to buy B&V property. And if you've got a great deal, let me help you sell it, because this is your fastest route to success. Now, here's a young lady. Now, I'm going to give Christina the best part of, let's see if she's still online. I'm hoping she hasn't gone to bed. Christina. Aha. Hello, Christina.
Hi, can you hear me?
How are you? You well?
Yes, I'm good, thank you.
Right, Christina. Okay, so brilliant. So first of all, Christina, who is Christina and where does she live?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know what you want to know about me. I'm 38 years old. I've got 2 young kids, 5 and 2. I have a feeling they're still up downstairs as well, because I've left them in charge of my partner, Steve. So if they come in, I'm ever so sorry. I live in Sutton Coldfield in Birmingham. Well, my background, I was a paediatric physiotherapist for, about 12 years. And then it was time for a change for me, when I had children and started having a rethink about what I wanted to do. And I came out of physio. I actually set up my own business as a virtual assistant. And that is actually still going in the background with someone working for me. But I was just kind of searching for something that could, that I could sink my teeth into, that interested me, that challenged me, and could, bring me that financial security for my family. And property was one of those things that I always had an interest in it. I've always been definitely interested, but I always thought it was something that was beyond my reach, if you know what I mean. Which, that's probably a mindset thing, but it's the kind of stuff that you see people dealing with on TV, or you read about it in magazines and the papers. I always thought it was something for, rich and powerful people. And it was only from, seeing dribs and drabs of things online come into my attention, where you can learn how to get into property, whichever angle you want to take with it. And you learn about people who, might not have, the kind of background that you expected, and work their way up. And so I just kind of took it from there, really. So.
Okay, so Christina, okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to ask then, so Christina, so why deal trading?
Okay. Well, I really like talking, and I like people, and I've just found from looking around and watching various webinars, of course, including yours, Arsh, and before I came into your program, I was learning lots about property, and I just found that this is the part that interested me the most. Because beyond that, it is when we get into all the financials and all JVing and all this kind of stuff, I do actually start to lose interest. But at the same time, it's because I don't have lump sums of cash to, dump into a deal and do you know what I mean? I just didn't have the money to start creating these deals myself. And it's exactly the things you've been talking about, the low risk, the fact that I can pick and choose when I do things. It works around me.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna cut you short because I know you can talk.
Yeah.
So Christina, okay, so we've been working together for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Describe the process, because I've been tougher on you than most, I would imagine.
Hmm. Well, with me, I do like to take action, but I can be, for want of a better phrase, like a bull in a china shop. So I take the action, and often I won't be thinking about the consequences around me or the processes that are involved. Um, and sometimes, I mean, I've been and sat with you in your office, which is a brilliant thing that we get to actually go there, and if you want to, and just immerse yourself in it all.
Okay.
I don't know
So
how to
yeah,
get the words out. I often say to you that I don't want you I don't want you to drive the vehicle for me. So I don't want to be spoon fed everything. I just want you to steer the steering wheel. So often I know that I can do something, and you've been that little extra nudge, I would say boot around the corner sometimes, that I need to move forward. Does that make sense?
it does. So Christina's been coming into the office some Fridays, and what I've been doing is I like, as Christina said, she just needs that gentle nudge. So she's telling me what she's doing. I'm saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, whilst I'm still doing my stuff. So there's not disruption to any of the day. And as a result of that, I'm hoping that it's all sunk in with Christina. And off the back of that, I was really glad to see that she went away and she went off and sourced a deal. Now, do you want to tell us, without giving away all your secrets, how did you manage to find 3 deals within such a short space of time?
Okay, well, this is going to link into what you've been mentioning about working around what you already do, because I have a job, I have kids, I have marathon training, I have acting and all sorts. And so I actually found this deal when I was sat at my friend's kitchen table with my laptop, because we both needed to get stuff done, and we had both of our kids, so we decided to have a play date with the kids. So they were playing in Cully's living room, um, and she was busying herself in the kitchen. I was sat at her kitchen table going through, I like to look through auction sites, because you can find all kinds of things there. And I came across this property, and the bell started ringing for me. So I started researching it, doing lots of due diligence that you taught me to do, and it looked like a great deal. So the more I looked into it, the better it sounded. I actually started speaking to you about it, Arsh, as well, and you actually encouraged me to get in touch, and it with them, and it turned out that this investor, it basically looked too good to be true to me. I thought, why has nobody snapped this one up? Because it was actually an unsold auction lot, and it I basically found out from doing my due diligence that the investor, they were just trying to downsize their portfolio because they wanted to raise funds for another project. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with the property at all. And because the way I've been taught, to ethically do the due diligence and speak to everybody, well, the investor was happy with doing a deal with me, but then they actually offered me 2 other properties that they hadn't bought for sale yet in the same street. So from what was just sat at my friend's kitchen table, getting my first deal, which was brilliant, I actually ended up with 3.
Okay, and as a result, I think they're selling off more as well.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so what? Okay, so if you were to, we've got a lot of people listening in online at the moment. So what would be your 3 tips?
Okay. Don't be a lurker. I was a lurker for so long, but actually it was only when I took action and found the right person to work with that I gelled with, that I could actually start taking the action steps, because I was learning and watching webinars for probably almost 12 months leading up to it. So start taking action, do your research on whoever you might want to work with or who you want to learn from, and just do it. The second tip, and everybody says it, and I'm feeling it right now, but just be prepared to get really, really, really uncomfortable. People talk about comfort zones. I'm really nervous right now. But with everything that you're doing as well, so make sure you are getting out of your comfort zone. I often say to Ash, I can speak to anybody on the phone, but sometimes it sounds so silly. I'm a 38-year-old woman, but sometimes I need Ash to just sit there and go, pick up that phone and phone that person, and I'll do it. I don't know why. But it's just that step around the corner, and it's your comfort zone every single time. And if I hadn't have done those things, if I hadn't have phoned those people, I would not have those deals right now. They're not just going to land on my lap.
Yeah, well, I give Christina challenges, so I tell her that she's going to make 30 calls or 20 calls, and she has to do it by the end of that week. So that's part of the accountability. So one quick give me one last quick tip then, Christina, to someone that's listening.
Oh gosh, so I'm ever so nervous. I'm trying to think. Okay. Pick. If you've got loads of strategies going through your head, which I do all the time, and you're trying to think, well, which one looks better? Which one? Oh, but that one might be better. Just pick one, and stick with it. Make sure you do it for all of its worth, so that then you can then assess. Well, actually, that one's not doing as well as I thought, or you do really well with it and carry on. Does that make sense? Just pick one and do it. Do it. It sounds a bit Gary Vaynerchuk now.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Christina. Well, first of all, I should say Happy New Year.
And to you.
And I'll speak to you during the week. And then stay online if you can, because there may be a few questions for you.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Thank you. So there we have it. We had Christina. So as Christina, she's as she said, she can talk for England. So we had to keep her quite on the ball and on the point. So let's keep moving on. So by all means, I'm going to tell you about a little program that I created 2 years ago. It's called the Elite Property Tribe, and the reason why I did it is because I wanted to create a group of deal sources and to turn them into a deal sourcing success. The reason why I wanted to do that is because then I wanted to start seeing some of the deals that they were doing, and as a result, potentially selling them to my investor database. So turning you guys, educating you guys, selling your deals to my investors, and my investors get a great deal and everyone wins. And in order for me to do that, I had to create a whole 52-week curriculum. I've called it the Elite Property Tribe. So every week, every Wednesday, for the next 52 weeks, you'd be getting weekly training and a Q&A webinar for a whole year, which gives you the skill set, the motivation, in order for you to source, trade, and flip houses. And you get access to an online portal with all the recordings, just in case you miss one of the live events. You get all my documents. So you get my contracts, you get my adverts, you get my leaflets, you get pretty much every document that I use on a day-to-day basis. And you also get access to my power team, which is my architects, my accountants, lawyers, mortgage brokers. You also get to join a supportive community of motivated property investors, just like you, that are on the same journey and determined to change their lives, which will inspire you with their success and share their experiences so that you can avoid costly mistakes. We meet up once a quarter. So once every quarter, next one Saturday, 13th of January. It's been in Birmingham. We've got 3 great keynote speakers, and there's going to be a live Q&A motivational networking session. And you get to sell your deal in less than 2 days when you JV with me and my investor database who are hungry for your B&B deals. Remember, I only work with people who are part of the Elite Property Tribe. You get access to a private WhatsApp group, which has got for further group discussion. You get instantly become a lead magnet, which pulls in 6 to 10 leads a month, and how to use empathy and eloquence to find out what's most important to the vendor so that they thank you for buying their house at a discount. And you get to dodge the "how much will you give me for my house" bullet, because that stops most negotiations dead. And we need to find out why they want to move. Give them this and the purchase price becomes an afterthought. And I will show you how to shine a spotlight on your deal so that your investors are desperate to have it. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can sell your deals when you've used our proven tested systems. We'll also be talking about what to never tell an investor about the property until they've paid your fee. Believe it or not, I always get paid first. We always get paid first, and we hold that funds in a place which is secure right up to the point of exchange, because then we're unable to be cut out of the centre. And I'll also show you how to build a lasting relationship with investors so that they become repeat customers for your deals and houses. And I'll also be showing you how much is too much when it becomes a sourcing fee. And it's a simple calculation, how to never sell yourself short and how to easily create a win-win-win for you, the vendor, and the investor. I'll also show you how to, you'll know with rock solid confidence, how to flip houses every month for between 10 to 40 grand without having to buy them, pay or refurb them. How to use a simple little known trick to add value without doing the refurb. And I'll also be giving you a credit card size classified ad that makes the phone rings for months. And this credit card size ad is a system that I've been using for 17 years, and still to this day it still makes the phone ring. It costs £57 to put in, and it will give you the contacts and enough cash investors to sell houses to for the rest of the year. So I'll be showing you how to find rent-to-rent deals, how to find lease option deals, how to find below market value deals, how to find office buildings and turn them into commercial to residential. We've got a full 52-week agenda. I couldn't put the whole 52 weeks on there. So as you can see, some of the stuff that we go through, we even go through stuff like strategic financing, how to determine when you're going to get your money back out of a HMO, how to negotiate a rent-to-rent deal with a landlord, how to negotiate a rent-to-rent deal with an agent, the paperwork. You get all the documents, the contracts, and everything that we do. If you were to do one-on-one mentorship with me, it costs you £12,000 a year, which is equivalent to £1,000 a month. Now, what we've done with the EPT is very simple. The full price of it is £6,000 for a year. However, you only ever pay 50% of that, so £3,000 up front. The other £3,000 is paid when you succeed, so when you do deals. And you can pay £3,000 up front, or you can pay it in 3 monthly instalments. And it really is as simple as that. So you pay £3,000 up front, the other £3,000 is paid when you do deals. And if you follow the system and the processes and everything that we've got in place, and you follow all the guides that we've mentioned on tonight's webinar, there's no reason why one deal won't pay for your education. And a lot of the guys that have been in the EPT made their money back just by one deal. Now, I'm very confident with the program that I've created. I know that it's worked. We've been running it for 2 years, and we've seen tonight some of the success stories. That I'm giving you a 30-day money-back guarantee, and here's how it works. If you join the EPT, which is the Elite Property Tribe, and you have to participate in the weekly webinars live, if for whatever reason you're not completely satisfied, all you've got to do is send me an email, and I'll give you a full refund. No questions asked, no hassles or forms to fill out. And all you've got to do is go to arshellahi.com. And what I'll quickly do, let me see if that actually works. I hope it works. Whilst I do that, so that should take you to somewhere like that. And whilst waiting for that to happen, so it'll take you to a page like that. So I want to join the Elite Property Tribe. So basically, Just confirm it's a 52-week property education program that gives you all the latest tools and insider techniques. So you can pay in full payment, or you can pay 3 monthly installments. That's completely up to you. And just so that you know, here is the Elite Property Tribe platform. So we've got the documents, all the documents that you could ever need for rent-to-rents. We've got flowcharts. So just so that we'll have a quick look. So some of the schemes that we do in the EPT, very simply. So here we go. We've got dealing with agents, dealing with other sources, rent-to-rent flowchart. We've got webinars. We've got all the webinars for the last 2.5 years. So by all means, I know, for argument's sake, Christina loves gorging on some of the previous webinars. So in that respect, I get to see who has actually watched all the webinars. So you get to see all the webinars there. We also got a buddy scheme so that you get to buddy up with each others. We get to see the EPT curriculum. I'll quickly go through the curriculum with you. So this is specifically for EPT members. So as you can see, we've got a full 52-week agenda. And if you wanted to, we can have a look through that. We've got the EPT live meets, the recorded meetings. We've got the events, we've got contacts, useful contacts. So there's lots of documents. And just so that you know, the EPT WhatsApp group, so Jason, he goes, just sent out a contract for our first rent-to-rent deal, 2018, direct to landlord, to the viewing on one of our houses. So there you go. So as you can see, there's lots that goes on in the EPT. We're going to come to a Q&A session in a second. So the first webinar starts on Wednesday, the 7th of Feb. And like I said, Christina has traded three deals with me. It's in the process of building her own investor database. 3 deals we've traded together, 3 HMOs in Doncaster, where she's charged £3,000 fee each property. Now, Russell Boakes learned how to source and trade in Jan 17. In Feb, he sold his first deal, and he sourced through auction houses. So that's one of his strategies. The deal was done in less than a day. The beautiful thing with Russell is that he's been doing all this whilst living abroad in Marbella. Now, Russell's gone on to source a further 10 deals whilst abroad. Now, question that I've got to ask you, very simply, is that are any of the people that I've shown you and spoken to you about today any different to you? Is Christina any different to you? No, they're not. They've just put their doubts aside for long enough to give this a try at no risk to them. The reason why it's no risk to them, it's a 30-day money-back guarantee. And they've achieved unbelievable results in just 1 month. Results that they've been able to replicate month after month. So just imagine never having to do a day's work for anyone else for the rest of your life. No more boss, no more commuting, no more pressures, no more financial worries. Just imagine having a business that fits around your family commitments so that you never have to miss your kids' plays, concerts or sports matches. And then one day, how good would it feel to write your letter of resignation? Because every month for the last 3 months, you've made £5 a month. Remember, guys, this isn't something that I've made up overnight. This is a proven system that I've been using for 17 years. I give you a weekly, and it is delivered by me personally, weekly training for a whole year, access to my power team, join a supportive community of property investors at the same journey as you. And you join, the full program is £6,000, but you only pay £3,000 to start, and then the other £3,000 is paid only once you've done deals. So can a simple system really do all this for you? Of course it can, because you've seen it with the success of people like Vicky, Helen, Christina, Gareth, Paul, Alfred, Girish and Richard. Because you've got to, well, I don't like putting this slide in, but I will. It goes, don't you owe it to yourself to give this a try at no risk to you at all. because you covered my 30-day money back guarantee. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what it offers you. So we've got the weekly training, Q&A webinar to give you the full skill set, motivation, access to an online portal with all the webinar recordings, just in case you miss one of the live events. You get the JV with me, sell the houses and deals. You get private access to a Facebook group. You get private access to a WhatsApp group. You get the quarterly physical meetings. You get the opportunity to come and shadow me in my office as many times as you want. You get access to my power team. And if you wanted to book on, all you got to do is go to that link there. We've talked about the WhatsApp group. We've talked about the platform, and you can see some of the flowcharts that we've got, which are all in the documents there. So what we're going to do is we're now going to go onto a Q&A session. Okay, so let's start from the bottom. Okay, so where are the quarterly meetings? So this is from Tabita. Hopefully I've said your name right. Happy New Year. So the next one is in, majority of them in Birmingham. So because that, we did do one in Milton Keynes a couple of, I think it's a couple of weeks back, but they generally are in Birmingham and hotels. So the next one's at the Jury's in Birmingham on Broad Street. Okay. Okay, so Marcin has said, can this be done on part-time? How much time a week is needed? Marcin, let me put you straight now. Yes, absolutely, it can be done on part-time hours. Example being, Christina has told you how much time or how very little time she has. And as a result, she's succeeded at this. And okay, she's done her first 3 deals, but that's the that's the first 3 of many. Obviously, the more time you can put into this, the better the results will be. However, the beautiful thing with the EBT is that we also get to buddy up with other people in the group. So for argument's sake, giving the example, we've got their team. Remember we talked about Chris that was in Bulgaria? Chris has now buddied up with a lady called Hannah. Chris's downfalls is that English is not necessarily his first mother tongue language. However, he is very good at spotting deals. Hannah is very good on the phone. So between them, they've become a great partnership. So the more time you can put into it, the better you will become. However, saying that, I've got lots of people who are very little. Even if you can spare an hour an evening, that is more than enough. Okay, so Marcin is coming with another question, which is a great question. Is activity restricted to radius of where I can physically live, or can this be done nationwide? No, well, just so that you know, Christina's properties that she sourced, she's based in the West Midlands. She's sourced in Doncaster. Russell is based in Marbella, and he's been doing stuff all over the country. Rahil is a guy that I didn't mention on this webinar. He's based in Saudi Arabia, and he's done all over the country. Just thinking, so Helen and Gareth have predominantly done where they're based. Martin and Elliot have predominantly done where they're based. Vicky did nationwide. I do nationwide. So it's wherever the deal is. Here's another great question. Okay, so Omar says, is this program about property sourcing only, or do you cover other strategies like buy-to-let, HMO, flips, etc.? We cover a wide spectrum. So he goes, how does this compare with people like Jill Fielding, Legacy or Progressive, etc.? Now, I'll be completely honest, I never compare my my training to whatever they've done. The reason being is that they're training companies. I'm a property investor who is predominantly property investing. So I'm not a training company. I'm a property investor offering some form of training, if that makes sense. I walk the walk, I talk the talk. I don't learn the theory and then talk about it. I teach stuff that I know I've done. Now, with the best part of 100 plus properties, with a, well, when I say 100 plus properties, bought 50 this year alone. that was 2 massive blocks of flats. We're consistently buying. What we offer weekly training. So it's not a case of, oh, just turn up to Peterborough once a month and you'll get to speak to someone for an hour. You've got direct contact to me. You've got, you can book calls with me. Pretty much I speak to most EPT members pretty much most weeks. You can also come and shadow me in the office as and when you want. So the access to me, I need to make sure that you're going to be able to succeed. So I give you as much access to me as you can so that you can make this a success. Okay, so Said's asked the question, goes, what happens after the 52-week course? Now, this is a great question, and this will follow on the question that was just previously asked. Now, most people will say, well, you've got to sign up for a second year. Now, all I say is that you sign up for a second year for only £300, which is just to cover the admin and whatever it costs me. So I want to keep you in the group, and it costs you £300 for a year for the second year, and then the third year, whatever, if you decide to do that, whatever happens there. Does that make sense? So the first year you pay the full amount. Second year it's £300, £300 yearly thereafter, and that just covers the admin for all the platforms that we have running. So here we go. So Georges has says, hi, I live abroad, and can this work for me even though I live abroad? Is it possible to source deals even when I can, if I'm not in the UK? Will even estate agents want to contact with me? Of course they will, Georges. As I've just mentioned, we've got people in Bulgaria, we've got a lady in Kenya, we've got a guy in Saudi Arabia, we've got a guy in Marbella, all sourcing whilst they're abroad. Whilst I've been in Dubai for the last 3 weeks, I've still been sourcing whilst working from abroad. You can do this from anywhere, providing that you've got the ability and the time and the know-how. So okay, so AO says, if we sign up and no deals are done, is the remaining 3K still payable? That's a great question. No, it's not. And I am completely and 100% open with that. If you do no deals for whatever reason, which I'd find extremely hard, remember 3K is 1 deal. That's the way that I break it down. So if you don't do a deal, which I find extremely tough, and believe it or not, I'm quite tough on myself. If I find that you're not doing something, I question as to whether it's me, whether it's the approach that you're getting, or whether it's something that I can do. And that's where I start to come in and make you accountable. I pull you in. And Christina could be a great testimonial for that, because when Christina goes off on a tangent, I have to say, Christina, come back, and let's get you back on focus. Okay, so Altaf says, hi Arsh, if we was to shadow you, could we do it for a week? Whereabouts is your office based? I'm based in Wolverhampton of the West Midlands. So yes, you're more than welcome to come. So Omar says, shadowing, is this part of the 3K program or is there additional fees? No, it's part of the program. I am very generous with my time. So it is involved in that program. How other emails are sent? You mentioned earlier during the presentation that your emails are sent daily. I do receive your emails, but 2 to 3 times a week. Is that normal? We normally send about 2 a day, Marcin. So we normally send about 2 a day. Helen Firth is online. She goes, if you don't do any deals, that's your fault, not Arsh's. Thanks, Helen. Thanks for coming along. P.S. Happy New Year. If we were to JV with your investor database, could we gain access to 100% funding from acquisition option agreement stage? If we were to JV with you or your investor network, could we gain access to 100% funding from acquisition option agreement stage? Okay, so there's a couple of questions. So basically what you're trying to say is that could we potentially get JV funding? The one thing that you've got to be very careful of, and I am very conscious of this, is that we'd never put emails out for JV funding to my database, purely because we would fall foul of FCA regulations. Because I'm not FCA regulated to, it's almost like you'd have to go to a crowdfunding platform. I could show you how to do crowdfunding platform because I've been a part of a crowdfunding platform, and we can go through that whole process. That's not a problem, but I wouldn't be able to crowdfund from my database specifically for your project. That makes sense. But believe it or not, that is still very doable. So Ben says, if you live abroad, how can you meet face-to-face with agents or vendors or develop the deal or relationship? Believe it or not, Ben, agents are only after one thing. They're after selling properties. What you've got to do, and again, I'm happy to have the conversation with the agent. So if they're worried about you not being in the country, believe it or not, you can leverage your time and your experience from me. So you can say, well, I'm actually working with a guy called Arsh Ellahi. More than welcome to Google him, more than welcome to do any research on him. And a lot of agents do. And as a result of that, they say, well, okay, Ben, yeah, on the basis that I'm happy to work with you. And that's how people like Raheel got off the ground. So I was speaking with a lot of agents with Raheel for the first month. Does that make sense? Okay, so Frank says, can this be done successfully working from the other side of the world, like Australia? Frank, there's no reason. Australia's no further from Wolverhampton than Saudi Arabia, Bulgaria, Kenya, and people from all over the world are doing it. So I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to do it. What it comes down to is your ability to do deals. Okay, so Omar's asked a question. So during this program, you support us to find BME deals, then we market them to your investor database. Spot on, Omar. Yes, that's it. Martin said, can we do a trial deal with you before signing up to a program? Unfortunately, Martin, I only work with people who are in the program. So otherwise, I would have every Tom, Dick and Harry. Every Tom, Dick and Harry trying to send me their deals. So just so that you know, David says, you mentioned £40 per week for personal compliance. Believe it or not, if you sell the deals through my database, you don't need to worry about the compliance because I'm already compliant. Because they'd be sold to me, you wouldn't need to worry about the compliance. It's only when you start trading yourself to your own database and marketing them to your own database that you have to worry about being compliant. Okay, so Sayed said, it sounds like there's a lot of calling involved. If we have the ability to call at unconventional hours because working commitments, how would that work? Believe it or not, Sayed, lots of people do conventional calling during the day, and they also send lots of emails, and there's lots of calls that can be done in the evening as well. So you don't necessarily just have to speak to agents during the day. A lot of it can be done via email as well. Okay, so is there an opportunity to share deals across the EPT prior to going out to the database? Absolutely. And some of the existing EPT members already do that all at the moment. Okay, so how long does it take for fee funds to be cleared once a buyer has been found for a deal? Now, Ravinder, just so that you know, I'm very clear with the fact that I retain the funds. If it's JV with me, I will hold on to those funds until contracts have exchanged, just so that there's no issue with the property and the transaction. Once it's exchanged, that's when the fees are split. Okay, so David says, if you work with a partner or partners, can you join as a group if for your single fee? That's correct. So providing that you can clearly demonstrate that they are a business partner, that's fine. I don't want you to just go and get Joe Public off the street and do that. Okay, so Altaf says, can we source land deals without planning permission? Absolutely. Or do they have to be existing B&B houses? No, land without planning permission, commercial properties, If you have a look at all the emails that we put out recently, a lot of them have been commercial. Let's just have a look. I have a company with 2 people working for me. Can I sign up as a company and either myself as the guy working with does the work? Absolutely. Got no issue with that. AO says, if you sell the deal to another EPT member, do you still take half the fee? No, I don't, because you would have sold it to them directly, which means that it hasn't had my interjection. So David says, what kind of source of business partner, proof of business partnership do you require? David, in all honesty, as long as you're not trying to be a little bit sneaky and go behind my back and just trying to get someone in to share the fee with you, I'm quite easy and open with that. And I'll know pretty much early on from the interaction within the group whether you're a business partner or not. So just take that on board. It's not a case of I'll see from the WhatsApp group who's reacting with what. Okay, so Omar says, what tax is payable on deal commission? It's depends. We classify as income tax. Okay, so Altaf says, if we're to sign up for the training, can we offset the cost of the business expense? Absolutely, because you get an invoice for it. So how long on average until the homeowner house sale completes? On average, it's between 2 and 4 weeks, realistically. So if you do a deal today, expect your fee to come to you by the end of January. So Olin says, can I start immediately? Depend. After paying the first £1,000. So just so that you know, yes, you can. You'll get access to the site immediately. We'll have to get you, all set up, but that's no issue. You get access to all the previous webinar recordings. You get access to all the documents, so that's not an issue. So yes, the training fee is all fully inclusive. Okay, so just quickly going through. If you're sourcing unsold lots from auctions, will they really give you a lockout exclusivity period? James, believe it or not, if they haven't sold the property at auction, they're going to give you whatever you want to try and negotiate a sale. Does that make sense? Because if they haven't sold it in the room, they haven't done their job. As a result of them not doing their job, the vendors can be asking questions of them. As a result of the vendors going to be asking questions, they will allow you exclusivity to that deal. So going through. Okay, so Omar says, what is the most value adding activity in your training program, if you had to pick one? That's a difficult one, because Omar, if you can find another training program that gives you as much access to the person who's created the content as I do, I would be extremely surprised. So for argument's sake, let's just choose one of the larger training companies. If you can try and get to one of the people there, let's just use Progressive. You can try and get through to Mark and Rob on the phone pretty much on a daily basis, I'd be extremely surprised. If you try and get hold of Simon from the PIN network, I'd be extremely surprised. So you're not dealing with a member of their staff there. You would be coming through directly through to me. And if that is not enough, of a question answer for you, I may not be the right person for you. So Alzheimer says, do we get access to the solicitor drafted templates, such as the exclusivity agreement documents? Yes, you get those pretty much instantly because they're on the platform. You can download them instantly. Are there any questions for Christina, by the way? Let's just have a quick look. Okay, so Ravinda says, if we find a rent-to-rent deal and decide to keep it for ourselves, does the EPT program provide the contracts we need to use, e.g. company management lets? Exactly. We've got all those contracts already there, so you don't need to. You don't need to go off. Okay, so Martin's asked a question for Christina. How much time a week do you spend working on deal sourcing trading? Right, let me get Christina online. Hi, Christina. Hello, Christina. Come back online. Hello. Let's just, Christina. Hi, Christina.
Oh, hello.
Hi, sorry. Yeah, a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
How many hours? Hang on, let's just have a quick look. So, first of all, here's a great question.
Yeah.
What startup capital did Christina start with?
Startup capital?
How much have you spent on marketing?
Nothing.
Okay, great. Second question, how much time a week do you spend working on deal sourcing, deal trading?
Oh, that very much depends. But it's like you said, I'm happy if I've put in about an hour a day. But you know, sometimes there'll be days when I can't do anything. It really does vary. But you've got to touch your business every day in some fashion.
Okay, and another question that's just come in from a person called AO says, do you really have capacity to assist in the way that you have set out? So they're basically questioning, how much access do you have to me, Christina?
Oh, I don't want to rave about it too much in case the price goes up. but yeah, well, direct WhatsApp access. I can book a call with you. That we have a system where we can book calls, and you're pretty much available Monday to Friday. I think is it what 10 till 2 on the phone where we can book in. Well, and I'm in and out of your office. You know, probably more than some of your staff. So, you know,
Indeed.
I don't want to rave about it too much.
Okay, so I'm just I'm looking at any questions about Christina.
God.
Okay, so Andy Shepherd says, so if you take 50% of the fee, set 3K, I need 4 deals to break even on the investment. Is that correct? Yeah, it is, but just work on the basis that you need 2 initially. I'm not strict, Andy. Don't panic about the other 3K straight away. I want you to concentrate on getting your deals under your belt. That's what I try and do. I want to make sure that you get the deals under your belt. So Christina, another question for you from a chap called Ben. Do you just use one deal sourcing strategy, auctions, or any others?
Mainly auctions at the moment as I've been starting out, but I'm also looking at rent to rent as well. So I've been looking at via sites like Gumtree for properties to rent. And
Don't give away too many secrets yet, Christina. Okay, so question, Christina, have you bought any properties for yourself, or is your aim simply just to trade everything to start with?
Trade everything to start with. I do plan on holding on to stuff in the future, but I'm not ready for that at the moment. No.
Okay. So how many hours a week do you normally spend on this then, is another question.
Again, it really, really does vary. Depending on what's going on with the week. But I say if I touch my business every day in some way, shape, or form, and like I say, I mean, you never know. I found that one deal from just being sat for 10 minutes going through unsold auction lots at my friend's kitchen table. So if you're not touching your business, then you're not creating your own luck, if you know what I mean. So I don't know, let's say if I do an hour a day, then 7 hours a week, something like that. It just varies.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, Christina, stay online for a second just to see if there's any other questions. So Gary says, where's my office? My office is based in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands. Okay, so Okay, so say it says, so if we're doing a joint venture with your database, then what would be the upfront cost of setting up a company, etc.? Setting up a company could cost £35. The insurances you don't need to worry about because they're going through my database, so that goes through my insurances. So really, if you wanted to set up a website, that may cost you a couple of £100. So there's not a great deal that you need to worry about. Just quickly going through some of the questions. Are there any other questions that you want me to answer whilst we're here? Okay, so Jackie said, having followed you for a year from abroad, finally been able to get the webinar. Main objective is to live abroad, but not have to earn whilst there. Okay, so Jackie, with regards to that, like I said, we've pretty much been talking. Just moving back to UK, but would rather be back in the sun. Okay, so it might be worth you, Jackie, giving us a call. Let's just have a quick look. I'm going through as many questions as I can. Okay, so here's an interesting question. Hopefully Steve's still online. Let's just have a quick look. Is Steve? I think he may have gone. We'll answer it anyway. He goes, most estate agents seem to understand little more than standard sales with mortgage. How do you convince them that you deal trade? It's a great question, because what you have to do is you have to tell them what you're doing. When you say you're going to literally be finding them the buyer, you're going to literally be finding them the buyer. So you're removing a lot of the work from them. For them, you'll put the buyer in front of them, and then they will deal with it as they normally would. Let's just have a quick look. Okay, so Andy Shepherd says, when you say they sell within 30 minutes, how can this be when the purchasers have not seen it? Believe it or not, Andy, okay, it's a great question. Our deals, what they have to do, they have to reserve it with me by paying the finder's fee, the reservation fee. That is then held in our account until they've been and viewed the property, made sure that they're happy with it. If they're happy with it, they then proceed to legals and financials. If they're not happy with it, they get their money back, and then we then go on to the next purchaser. But generally speaking, I'd say 8 times out of 10, they proceed with it because our due diligence is more than sufficient to confirm. So Helen says, if you just say that they won't lose their fee, that usually makes them come on board, and that's a great way of talking about it. Thanks, Helen. Okay, so Bob's asked a few questions. How can we deal trade where the buyer has a mortgage and needs the equity to buy their next home? How can we deal trade where the buyer has a mortgage, where the seller has a mortgage and needs all the equity to buy the next home, has no mortgage and needs all the equity to buy the next home? Can we monetize those deals? Yes, believe it or not, you can, because just because they've got a mortgage on it, there may still be a discount. But however, there are other ways that you could monetize it, because you could still sell the deal. You could still sell the deal as full market value, providing that you can show it's a good enough deal. So Altaf said, so it's as simple as marketing as an estate agent locally, find the BMW deals and pass it on to self. In essence, yes. Okay, so Scott says, some sources have bad reputations with estate agents. How would I overcome this? That's, to be fair, that's a good point. What you'd have to do, that's one thing that you do. You don't go in there and look at all their stock. You say, let's have an opportunity with one. Let me show you how we can work with one deal. As a result, yes, we can, let's see how we work with one. If it works, great, and the relationship works and you like the way that it all operates, we'll do other deals. If not, then it's not for us. David says, am I available via Skype? Yes, I am available via Skype. My Skype ID is Arsh Ellahi. Philip says, can he schedule a call? That's not an issue. You have to build a relationship with the agent, as Helen said. And Helen's very good at that, as Helen and Gareth have done fantastically well with agents. I'm just looking to see. Philip says, can I schedule a call with you during the week before I commit? More than happy for you to do that. Remember, we don't start until the 1st of Feb, but we are going to get to a point where we will get to a fixed amount of people, and then we'll start to moving on with it. Is your price fixed for the course also, or special offer? Fixed for the course also, or a special offer? Well, with all due respect, we normally charge £6,000 and we're only taking 50% of it up front. It'll get to a point where we'll stop saying that we'll take only the 50% and we'll want the full 100% of it. Are there any other questions about deal sourcing, deal trading that you want to know about? Okay, so Simone has asked, how many people are currently signed up for the tribe? At any one point, we take 30 people per intake. We do 2 intakes a year. So that just gives you an indication. So we take 30 people in 1 intake. But there's more than sufficient time. And all the guys in the tribe will let you know that I'm very generous with our time. So we have 10 to 2 booking calls, so you can book a call any day, Monday to Friday, between 10 and 2 with me. We have the weekly webinars. You can come and shadow me during the week. You have to book that in beforehand. You can't just turn up on the day. If there's a specific question that needs answering urgently, if you need to do a conference call with an agent, provided that's booked in, I can do that. I can do conference calls with owners if you need to seal the deal, or if you're finding that they're not kind of understanding your leverage and you want to speak to someone in particular, or you want me to speak to someone in particular, then it can do that. Marcin says, is there any special software needed to deal source? No, there's not. Omar says, do you deal with international property sourcing or just the UK? At the moment, just the UK. I've got something up my something up my sleeve for doing something internationally later on in the year. So keep your ears open for that. So guys, I suppose on that note, that's it. Been online for quite a long time. We've still got a lot of people online. If there are any other questions, I suppose, oh God, what we will do is say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to learn the secrets to deal trading. I hope you now understand how you can use this simple 3-step process to achieve your financial goals. And if you want a little bit more insight into what the Elite Property Tribe is all about, we've actually got a little taster video where we've got Helen and Gareth on there. We've got Martin and Elliot on there. We've also got AJ and Ellie on there as well. So go to elitepropertytribe.co.uk. You get to see the video there. And if you've still got some unanswered questions, you're more than welcome to come through to me directly, which is email arsh@arshellahi.com, or you can call me directly. So I suppose let's have a look. So I wish you all a very great start to the year. And if there's anything that I can do to help, feel free to. So, sorry, one of the questions that Ben's just asked, it goes, when is the final 3K taken? After first deal, it'll spread over a number of deals. It's spread over a number of deals. But like I said, don't make that the be all or end all. We're closing the tribe intake as soon as we hit 30 people. So Gary says, when do you need the first installment? So whenever we've got the first 30 people, that's when we'll close it and we'll start moving on with those. So it's completely up to you guys. There's no pressure from my point of view. We do these, and every year, without a doubt, we sell out to 30 people. So, and we move forward. So on that note, I wish you all the very best of success. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's been a great day, 1st of January, and I wish you all the very best of success. Take care. Good night. God bless.